Okay, solving systems using elimination. Usually we use this when the x and y are on the same side of the equal sign in both equations. What we do is we look for opposite numbers in front of the same variable. If there are none, then we may have to multiply one or both equations to get them. After we have opposites, we add the two equations together and solve for one variable. Then we pick one equation and substitute for the variable you get in step 2, then solve for the other variable. And since it's a system, we write our answer as an ordered pair. So if I look at example 1, it says 5x minus 6y equals negative 32, and 3x plus 6y equals 48. So 5x and 3x aren't opposites. They're not the same number, but opposite signs. But here, negative 6y and positive 6y are opposites. So once you have opposites, you add the two equations together. So 5x and 3x is 8x. Negative 6 and positive 6 cancel. Negative 32 and positive 48 is positive 16. Then I divide by 8 and I get x equals 2. Then we got to pick an equation to plug it back into. I always like to pick the equation that has the most positive numbers because those are usually easier to work with. So I would probably pick the 3x plus 6y equals 48. Now we're going to substitute that 2 that we just got. And since it says x equals 2, I put in the 2 for the x. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 6y equals 48. So here's my variable. I need to get rid of the 6 here by subtracting 6. So 6y equals 42. Divide both sides by 6, you get y equals 7. And again, write your answer as an ordered pair. So 2, 7. Now in example 2, we've got negative 2x plus 15y equals negative 32. 7x minus 5y equals 17. Now negative 2 and 7 aren't opposites. 15 and negative 5 aren't opposites. So that means I'm going to have to multiply one or both equations depending on how you look at it. What I always like to do is see if one number goes into the other. So 2 doesn't go into 7, but 5 goes into 15. Now that's helpful because I can multiply 5 by something to get 15. And these are already opposite signs, so that's good because then I don't have to make either one of these numbers negative. So I can multiply the bottom equation by 3. And the reason I'm doing that is because now I can make this negative 15, which means it would cancel with the positive 15. So the first equation I'm not changing. It's going to stay negative 2x plus 15y equals negative 32. The bottom equation, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 7 is 21x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15y. And 3 times 17 is 51. Now if you notice, by multiplying that bottom equation by 3, now I've got opposites. I got a 15y and a negative 15y. So I'm ready to add the two equations together. Negative 2 and 21 is positive 19x. The 15 and negative 15 cancel. Negative 32 and 51 is positive 19. So then I'm going to divide both sides by 19 and I get x equals 1. Then again, pick whichever equation you want to use. You could use one of the originals or the new one. It doesn't matter. Since they all have a mixture of negative and positives, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. I'll just pick the top one this time. So negative 2x plus 15y equals negative 32. Now I know x is 1. So negative 2 times 1 plus 15y equals negative 32. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. plus 15y equals negative 32. So I have to add 2. And I get 15y equals negative 30. Then divide both sides by 15. And I get y equals negative 2. So my ordered pair would be 1, negative 2. Okay, the third example, 3x plus 2y equals 1 and 4x plus 3y equals negative 2. Again, I don't have opposites. In this case, none of the numbers go into each other. So then I can pick whichever one I want to get rid of. It does not matter. A lot of people like to just get rid of the x if you don't have any choice. But it means I'm going to have to multiply both equations by something. So I need to find a number 3 and 4 go into. Now some people struggle with that. The easiest way to take care of that is if I multiply 3 and 4 together, I can get 12. So I can multiply the top by 4 and the bottom by 3. Now what you have to check for now is opposite signs. Since these are both positive numbers, we need to make one of these numbers a negative. It doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to make the 4 a negative. So I'm going to multiply everything on the top by negative 4. So that gives me negative 12x minus 8y equals negative 4. Then everything on the bottom by 3, which gives me positive 12x plus 9y equals negative 6. So now I've got opposites, negative 12x and 12x, so those would go away. So negative 8y plus 9y is 1y, negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10. So I get y equals negative 10. Then again, go back and find an equation you want to use. I'll just use the top one because they're all positive. So 3x plus 2y equals 1 and y equals negative 10. So 3x plus 2 times negative 10 equals 1. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. So I add 20, get 3x equals 21. Divide by 3, I get x equals 7. So now I got x is 7, y is negative 10. Okay, the fourth example, 6x minus 3y equals 15 and 7x plus 4y equals 10. Again, I don't have opposite numbers. 6 doesn't go into 7, 3 doesn't go into 4. But I do have opposite signs. So I like to, if I've got opposite signs, get rid of those variables. Because if I got opposite signs, that means I don't have to make either one of these negative. So I can just take, again, 3 times 4 is 12, so I can multiply the top by 4 and the bottom by 3. I do not have to make one of these negatives because I've already got opposite signs here. So 4 times 6x is 24x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12y. 4 times 15 is 60. 3 times everything on the bottom, so that's 21x plus 12y equals 30. So now I can add the two equations together because I got a negative 12y and a positive 12y. 24 and 21 gives me 45x. Negative 12 and 12 go away. 60 plus 30 is 90. Divide both sides by 45, I get x equals 2. I'm going to pick the original bottom equation because they're all positive. So 7x plus 4y equals 10 and x equals 2. So 7 times 2 plus 4y equals 10. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 4y equals 10. Subtract 14 from both sides. 4y equals negative 4, and finally divide by 4. You get y equals negative 1. So it would be 2, negative 1.